right. Good day of practice for us today. Got an opportunity to recreate some moments that we could get a little bit better from this past weekend, and able to build off of that, and then also prep for a really good team in Utah. So we'll open it up.
What type of challenge does Clark Phillips present, particularly on the outside?
Yeah, I mean, it's obviously dynamic, and we're gonna match up well at times, but you always have to be conscientious of where he's at.
You get to play a great tight end core in the opener. Kincaid is up there in terms of production, how much they rely on him. What makes him that kind of a threat in the receiving game?
He catches contested plays. Plays that are supposed to be 50-50 balls aren't 50-50 balls with him. He has a big catch radius, and obviously when they're matched up, they'll throw the ball to him even in traffic, and he'll still get it.
Did you rewatch last year's Utah games to get an understanding of what took place and maybe kind of some of the frustration from your players about how they played last year?
Not so much about the frustration piece. We certainly studied those last year, and really more so even in off-season prep, because it's a new team and they've had a lot of games this season. But certainly watch those in the off-season and a little bit this week.
A lot of those games had some self-inflicted wounds get really magnified. How important is it just to those pre-snap stuff, really control and play within your element and not do too much in your play for your role of that play?
Yeah, I mean, it's really important. One thing that makes this situation special for us is our fans have an opportunity to make an impact in this game. Playing on the road is a lot different than playing at home and vice versa. So being that the game's here, I think that's a big benefit for us. But all year, the times that we've struggled, it's been times that we've kind of hurt ourselves. So it's certainly important that we do a good job of avoiding those.
A couple of those kind of plays this past weekend we haven't asked you about yet. The kickoffs. What happened on the two out of bounds?
Yeah, just bad kicks. They're just poor kicks, and we try to recreate that same sort of things today. We had a pressure kick. We had some really good kicks today. So got to be consistent. Got to be consistent in the kicking game. Didn't do that on Saturday. Hoping to see that this Saturday.
And on Sean's return, I realize it's a squib, but because they're from midfield, you want him to roll that into the end zone.
Yeah, I mean, if you go back and watch it, you don't know that it's going to roll in the end zone. It's a really tough decision as a returner. If you knew it was going to roll in the end zone, you absolutely love for it to roll in the end zone and take a knee. You'd hate it if you waited for it to roll all the way down and then it stops at the one, right? I thought it was a really good kick by them. You'd love it if you were able, Jake was in position to potentially recover that and get some yards. It took kind of a funny bounce. That was a really, well-executed kick. We know that when they're at midfield, you're going to expect a kick like that. Want to be better in that situation.
How has the secondary really stepped up to the plate this week in practice, knowing that they've got a lot to prove after last week?
Yeah, they've just worked. They've embraced the dark, hard, dirty work. Right, that's what it takes, and they've recognized opportunities to, compete in practice, make sure they get really good looks, so they can go do a better job.
What are some of the defensive problems Utah can create when they're in that 12, 13, 14 personnel like you mentioned on Monday?
Yeah, you're talking about their offense when they're in the bigger personnel groups?
Yeah, what are some of the Oregon's defensive problems?
Yeah, I mean, ultimately, they do a great job of running the ball with big people. And the more hats you add to the party like they do with the tight ends and extra hats that they bring to the core, that's another gap that they just added, right, that they can use to run to. So you have to play gap-sound defense. You have to play with great overlap. You have to play with relentless pursuit. And they do a good job of doing that.
What have you made of Brandon Dorless this season, kind of just his production as a pass rusher?
Yeah, more than anything, I'm proud of Brandon and his leadership. He's shown up. He's played through some dings. He's had some, issues here and there. But Brandon shows up consistently to work every single day, even at times when it's tough on him and his body. I know that he would love to have more production at times from a pass rush standpoint. But sometimes those come in groups. They come in at times. What I'm pleased with is how Brandon works every day and the way that he approaches each day.
Seen our running back like Tavian Thomas physically earlier this season, and just what makes him just so good.
Yeah, I don't know if we have. He's different. He's big. He's a big back. He runs hard. He's not going to go down on first contact. This is going to be a knockback tackle game, right? It's really important to run your feet. A lot of contact surface area on these tackles. He's obviously a different one.
Get any feedback ultimately from the Pac-12 on the Woods hit on Bo?
Yeah, it was. We were told that's not. We got some feedback on some other things in the game that were interesting. But yeah, that was not.
This might be some of your last players' game at Autzen Stadium. I know you've only been here for a year and you've had limited amount of time to spend with the seniors, but have you seen them kind of step up a little bit this week, knowing it will be their last game?
Yeah, I think this is one of those ones where you feel it and you see it. You kind of wait for this moment all year, and I know this game means a lot to those guys. It means a lot to our team too to send those guys out on the right foot.
Going back to the feedback you got from the Pac-12, do you care to share what any of that was?
Yeah, but I'm probably not going to.
One that was made a lot of in Seattle this week was Chris's late game leg cramp. Any response to the outcry over that particular issue?
No.
Do you have any update on Chase Cota and his potential return to the field?
He's been practicing this week. We'll see, how he feels.
Talk about managing around guys who are just dinged up. It's that time of year. What makes it unique if you have to do that at the quarterback position? I'm saying if you have to do that at the quarterback position, just in terms of the preparation, where obviously for many weeks Ty was absolutely the backup. I'm not saying he's not, but how do you manage around an injury where?
Yeah, I think you always have prep, and you have a good feel for what guys are best at. Like we prep, year round for those situations. That's why you get reps with twos and why you get reps with threes and development groups throughout the season for situations like that. So we've had guys had to step up all year, and always want to be prepared for those moments.
Has Ty separated as the two, or is Jay still in competition for that spot for game reps?
Ty's consistently been that right there for us, that guy. And, Jay's done a really good job too. And I think everybody in our team has a lot of confidence in Jay. Throws a really good ball, does a good job. So anybody that's numbers called, I think will be ready.